Yeah. This poem has to do with a bed and breakfast in Warwick. I think it's on the market to be sold, but it was called the Peach Grove Inn. And I had stayed there many moons ago. According to lore, there were several ghosts, I should say. But the Peach Grove Inn, 1850, 2007, Warwick, New York. Psychic conferences with past life. Life past, yet karmic strains are played in the orchestra of seraphic cloudcraft. Recall the oaks who stand as character witnesses. Visit the walls of Wheeler's haunted estate. The peach tree calling from the slope. The apple tree where rabbits studied wind-fallen paradise. Garden of speaking herbs and flowers. The nursery glowing blue, late in the night. Patter of tiny feet dancing on wide planks without creaking the polished Victorian floorboards. Rain-scented breezes before daybreak and wisteria poems in dewy morning. You'd chosen the second-floor bedchamber above the dining room. Again, crows are ghost harbingers. They cry in gray September, awaiting hues of leaf paint. When you opened the armoire, the bedroom grew cooler. Wind crawled down the quiet chimney, dressed in a frock coat of creosote. The grounds were ours. The rooms were ours. But how could it be? Guests arrayed at the grand antique table. Tall, bearded man with black top hat was a familiar entity. But how could we be? You selected our bedroom nearly 2 centuries before. We knew the bed would speak to us as we wrote poetry before midnight, after romantics and candlelight, skin, cool room, and warm blankets. Our passion woven into the fibers of post and peg beams, attic rafters. We heard voices in the nursery. I saw you sleeping and your hair was a different shade. Our sons owned these acres. We will wander grounds washed in memory sunlight and kiss on the porch in October-burnished wind cloths. Embrace again in the twilight. We trembled in the haunted parlor where the piano glowed in moonlight. Now a bed and breakfast for guests, but grand meals by candle song, the food of our passion. Our private estate, where we lived in agrarian truth, life before electric delusions, forgotten stories stored in enclaves beneath creaking stairs, loose chimney bricks, lost strong boxes, and winter seance.
Ophelia Speaks is about the fact that Ophelia was Hamlet's girlfriend. She loved him, and he treated her crappy, really. By accident, he kills her brother, and she goes mad and she drowns herself in the river. And there's a famous Waterhouse painting that has Ophelia in the river with all the flowers around her, in case anyone doesn't know. All right, Ophelia Speaks. I had a river once. No one shared what I had. I had you, mansion of tears. My love was forever a country boy, dusty, bumping along the road, looking for a gang of magi to join. He found a star to follow. He was a tart seeking fame, and alas, the skies found their fiery boy. They stole him, plucked him down, and put him under the ground to grow. To grow, not white birch or a prayer tree the others tried to climb upon. He is all in green, my love. He will ferry us straight to the north. And me? I was fashioned out of petals, rain, and garland paths. When you enter my halls of water, call me daughter. I am a studded and baubled rose, gathered in fennel and rue. Rosemary for an uncrowned lady, remember me. What I could not say, they took that from me too. I speak to the fish. In my kingdom of carp, all my princes know who they are. Make no mistake, there is no hidden treasure in frogs. They stray away from me, always my lot. They nibble and taste, but they don't stay long. The moonlight drapes their green throats in luster like ermine. All those dazzled spirits flutter and descend on my lips. Ruby-winged darter, gold-ringed nymph, and you, who said I never had a treasure worth keeping. How can I live without a name, a father or a brother? I beg you, call me daughter. The turtles lay down the ropes before me. We have no need for pearls, no need for jewels, no queen to steal my pearls.
Van Gogh's ghost visits Gertrude Stein. I have watched you and the one you call Alice during the black petals of sleep, when all hardness leaves your faces. There is a field of tulips, not far from the town I lived in as a boy, with ragged, dark flowers. The spongy earth still makes these strong and odd, almost devoid of beauty, similarly different from their pastel companions. Most of my companions are whores. If I want a woman, I give up the few guilders set aside for bread or paint. I've taken the one with lice, with that violet birthmark staining her cheek. You are husband to her with your lips, your woman's body under those suits you wear. The edges of your petals give off luminous sparks, so strangely you make fire. If you look closely at my paintings, you will know my women. Their proud, erect beauty, their heavy-headed grace, each iris, each sunflower was turned from us.
This is about Virginia Woolf and the idea that after she died, she was in the river, like the river yonder. She put stones into her pockets, and she went down to the river and she drowned herself as well. Her sister's name was Vanessa Bell, and she was quite an artist in her own right. Virginia sings back to the stones in her pockets. I must get the details right. How stones warbled to her from the garden for a fortnight or so. Troublesome, intrusive. They trilled while she weeded anemones. Beneath the ease of roots and thrust of new growth, they ingratiated themselves to her prodding, calloused fingers. They knew her sister was the lucky one, the one who skimmed flat-brimmed lake stones with the children. This one lay on the couch with her eyelids peeled back, mushroom-capped stones rattling in the crotch of her eye sockets. Stones were faithful as vowels. They didn't let her down. Night after night, her husband begged her to push them back into the gully of silence. Last night, she overturned another patch of fertile earth, brushing off the smooth and round. She pictures the summer table noising with anemones and her sister's brood. She has washed out a little brown thrush, drab hen, frump. Her sister will urge her to overcome the day's exacting brushes. I must get the colors right, melt down her charms to the bare-boned mauves and ochre. The stones will do their jobs shortly. Aggressive reds need to be given back to the soil, to the bridegroom river. We must empty out all the flecked mica chips from her pockets, the cloth's blood-stained lullabies, the stone's last sweet songs.
This is written for my niece, Rebecca, when she was much younger. The King of the Frogs. Bullfrog, it is June. You are young and wandering, speaking a secret language of summer, mating, and rain. The lawnmower spared you, and I see you are not sick nor scarred by predators. The child in my care admires you, examines your eyes, flaring nostrils, and long legs. She laughs as you seek to flee my grasp, never knowing it is the safest place you'd be all summer. You are the king of frogs, each June, bog croak meditation, pond scum wet breath, holding court all day and into firefly candlelight, by which you read the braille of your lover's green skin. Who are you to fear raptors by day, snakes and owl by night? Have you leapt logs and turtle shell, hunting airborne insects, or do you have an amphibian harem tasked to bring you bug meal during the season's swelter? I speak science truths one day, mythology the next. The child laughs as you leap toward the shadowed creek, each in a dialect of the secret language of summer.
After my mom died, butterflies, moths mostly, kept following me. And I talked to a woman down in Puerto Rico who said that they get something off your skin. But it happened for about a year. And I had read that that people believed that they were signs, like butterflies were warriors in their life. So I thought of my mom, who had cancer, dying mostly of malnutrition, like people with cancer will do. And then I read that the Luna moth has no mouth, and that's why it finally dies after a month. Luna. The Luna moth dies because it has no mouth. She learns this summer her mother dies of the cancer. It starts out like a quickening, an easy pregnancy, her mother tells her, a fluttering like wings. Her mother says that New Year's moths have invaded her mouth. They crawl down to her stomach, their wings furiously leaving her ribs. It is not unpleasant, she says. It can't be dangerous. Afterward, she appears as mossy slices of apple on two wings. How perfect it is that she follows her daughter everywhere, her heart beating all that summer. Her breath is as unnoticed as a morning breeze. She is fragile as a vine climbing to reach the moon. She is a stem set loose by the sky. The Luna moth alights the daughter's left hip and stays, its antennae searching the warmth of her skin. The mother fans her like a leftover queen, reverent of her hips, the bottom she used to diaper. She reads that butterflies are a sign from the fallen. Her friends say a butterfly could have been a warrior or a soldier. This moth is close enough to believe in. Later, she is astonished to discover it has no mouth and will die from not eating. There are no trembling lips, no parched mouth to take in its last truth. In the end, there is no proof that her daughter will walk away from her, shining as brightly as an opalescence, a crescent of light.
This one was written just a few weeks ago. This spring and summer, I've seen a lot of the gray catbird, a lot of catbirds. Catbird field hand. Autumn gray catbird is crucial to spring, native to summer. His family has been attached to a heathen estate for generations. He sees ghosts as easily as screech owl, readily as tree-worshipping crow. He prays to ferns, to blue-stem blackcaps and high-bush berries, walks the creekside to scent the precious crawlies. Does he levitate above windfall winter remnants, mouldered oak leaves and kindred maple, snail parchments? His arcane song resonates from the highest gable to a cornfield and a quiet rabbit warren, pine green hedgerows, even atop our kitchen table, when the window is left open and perfumed house breath is carried out to the sunset. Catbird has secrets. Crows are human elders who shift, children who lift fog from misty lawns, deer who chant warm evenings when winter wounds the wet hillside. His work is season song, threshing clover with wingspan hayrake, beak pluck pliers, baled by squirrels who were subcontracted, with promise of sunflower seeds and rose hips at summer's end. The garter snakes agree that while blue jays' picnics are well attended, barn swallows' acrobatics are escapist escapades, catbird, unlike the floral songbirds, is hard at work, saving the lilac from gypsy moth ruin, gathering berries with chipmunk tenants, cleaning the courtyard of creeping worms, but leaving Luna moth to her convent in the cranial limbs of the old white birch. I'm for the birds, just if you have any doubt. Red-winged blackbird in late summer. He calls, gold-trimmed red autumn leaves sewn upon his frock coat of coal. He calls across onion fields where farmers harvest the crisp blonde bulbs and sings through cow corn crops, pokeweed and blush, through a cattail microphone to an audience of starlings and a man wandering the evening highway over haunted farmland. His scholarship of blueberries and sparrow congregations is not wasted on summer-stunned residents, for winter birds will return from their long pilgrimage to raise his baton above a gray afternoon orchestra awaiting snow.
Okay, so I was telling someone I like to write about different stories and make them my own. And that's how I started learning about William Shakespeare. I started reading and writing. But this one's about Cinderella. Cinders. While growing summer days, I picked the roundest pumpkins just in case, and I begged the cat not to chew the black and white, the black and tan piebalds, since they make the swiftest horses. Still, the rose bush that pricked my finger sent me into some kind of a spell. Blood poisoning, sepsis, who knew? The men from the pipeline warned me about tetanus. Those hot days, I'd stop the car to chat about progress. But that night, it all came together. I swear the lizard had piercing brown eyes, a leather swagger. He hummed through multi-breath riders on the storm, sucked the amber like he wanted my lip. He advised, you better get your kicks. The lead horse was like a burning barn horse. It was he who crashed the carriage, head over heels. I tumbled, ripped up my best push-up, my curly hair Rapunzel loose. My coach spat me out. What an entrance. I spun into the lobby, reeking of a long night ahead, a borrowed beer, a promise from a lizard king. Later, after they all scampered back into their green brambles, I sat on the step with a moon-dusty throat, wondering how was I to endure another night of pinched toes, gazing adoringly at a grotty valiant dew. Who knew? I had my chance and I blew it. To be safe, well, that is the hurricane of caution. Once I had taken the reins of a galloping night, each pumpkin seed forced into the earth might render its baffling escape. I was too busy overlooking all those handsome creatures while I turned princess into lizards.
Icarus plays Atlantic City. When I was no more than 10, my mother dressed me up in feathers. It wasn't exotic. We were pragmatic and found woodland browns and greens. No peacock ravished me, no swan had his way. But she told me, without facts, there cannot be faith. And I knew I was gifted. And so I practiced, along with the horses, to dive off a cliff. I know you've seen that act. Horribly, in the 20s, a girl was blinded. For me, it's practice, practice, practice. One day, I'll be ready for Carnegie Hall. In between, I do stand-up. It's odd to see a man adorned with feathers like a cross-dressing flamingo, hitchhiking my way across the USA. I do a damn good Lou Reed. Moon-fogged after 2 a.m., Mom and I spread feathers around the room. Woodpeckers with polka dot ties make the best ascots. Imagine a spread of seahorse pink, moss green, and violet, smoky as an angel's wings. Some say my sister stepped on an asp. Others that a handful of pills did her in. In the back room, she was everybody's darling. Oh, those gold bashili she wore with such grace. Soon I'll be ready to leap with those horses and set those strange angels spinning. We will name, fly towards a perfect marigold sun. dive down through fingers of salt.